going on, Georgia Bass-TEC fans? I hope everybody is doing well from the storms today. You'll have to forgive me for I've been trying to get over a cold past couple of days. So tonight, we'd like to take just a brief moment, welcome each and every one to our Hooked Up Live. We'd thank each and every one of our sponsors, Line Team and Serum, Just Catch Bass, Star Lures, G2 Gemini Jerseys, Tiny Boat Nation Outdoors, Dugout Bait and Tackle, PFD Fishing. Appreciate each and every one of them. Get over there and check out their social media pages, their stores, each and every one of them. They've got some amazing products that we greatly appreciate their support for our Hooked Up Lives. Just another quick reminder that tomorrow is the deadline for the Nights of Lights, getting your meal tickets. So all anglers that are planning on attending and wanting to purchase meal tickets for the Nights of Lights for next weekend, next Saturday night, make sure to get over to our website and pay for your meal tickets. Here's our website link, georgiabass-tec.com. Get over there. It's really quick and simple. All you have to do is take and transfer the money through Venmo. Just tally up however many people you got. It'll give you all the directions on our website. So get over there, check them out. And also we have the band Waleska that is actually going to be performing live. So as of next week, we're actually going to open it up for anyone that would like to attend. There is zero cost to come to this event. It's in downtown Atlanta at the Shriners Temple. The map for the location address is actually listed on our website as well. So free concert, a night to remember. We hope to see each and every one of y'all there. So no further ado, we're going to be bringing on our points champions from Southern Outcast, club president Josh Griffeth, and his co-anglers, Sam Thomas. And we got Chris Simmons from Tiny Boat Nation. Congrats, men, on your points championship.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, big congratulations.
Thank you.
So for our new people that may not be as into tournament fishing, which club do y'all fish in and which area do y'all fish in?
Southern Outcast John Boat Anglers, we're based out of Athens. Everything we fish can be reached within 1 hour of some part of Athens, Georgia.
Okay, so which all lakes do y'all go to?
So this year we've added Lanier and Hartwell, first time ever. We used to fish some mountain lakes further north. We kind of got out of that. Added Lanier and Hartwell. We fished Cedar Creek, Bear Creek, Sandy Creek. Those two are in Athens. Bear and Sandy are. We fish Hard Labor, Varner, and Black Shoals.
Very nice.
And Black Shoals was new this year. We'd never fished it before.
Yeah, it was new this past year. Yeah, we actually won that one. First time we've ever fished on the lake.
Well, I was going to ask y'all about y'all seasons, but I want to hear more about Black Shoals first, because Black Shoals is actually like 5 minutes from our shop, and I have yet to fish there. How'd y'all like it?
You fished there one less time than I have, so.
How was that lake?
I really liked it a lot. I got to be honest, I had some help from some friends on, where to go and that sort of thing. That helped a lot. My buddy Steve Garman, he actually took me out there on a guided trip before we went out there. So I guess saying it's the first time we fished on it wasn't totally true. I did go with Steve.
Okay.
And helped me out with some baits to throw. Combined, man, it was a winning strategy.
Awesome. Well, tell me about y'all's season. How did it go for you guys this year?
Well, we actually, it was a grind to the end. I think we were in second place the entire season from tournament number one. We might have been in first place after tournament number one. I wasn't even at that one. We were in second place from like the second tournament until the last tournament, and pulled it out at the very last minute. So it was a very exciting year. So
y'all been on the bubble seat all year long, being in second place, man. That would be it's a good vantage point, I guess, to be right there. This is
the story of my life. I can tell you all about that vantage point. I've always been
But
what was y'all's most memorable moment for the year?
Oh, I can tell you right now, it was when Sam decided to practice his backstroke skills at the TEC last year on Juliet.
I forgot about that. Yep.
I didn't.
Went
Sam fell in the lake.
and found a whopper plopper like 5 minutes later. So it was worth it, I guess. And it was the name brand, the what is it, River to Sea Whopper Ploppers. So yeah.
Okay.
So, Ryan,
I would say the most memorable moment though was probably Sandy Creek this summer. We were having a decent tournament and we're gonna finish in the money. And on the very last cast, we're fishing down the bank, and I'm fishing to the bank in an area of the lake we've never fished in a tournament before. And Josh is like casting off in the middle of the lake, and he caught a 6-pounder on the last cast of the day, and we ended up winning the tournament.
we already had what would have been a kicker for that tournament. Nobody was catching anything. It was just what's known as a dead lake, and that was by all means a dead day. And we had a decent bag already because we had one that was what, 4 pounds,
Yeah.
and then a 3.5, 4, something like that, and then that happened. We were like, let's go weigh in.
It was gonna be close. I think there was one other team that had a good bag, and it was gonna be close without that fish. Close enough that I remember not feeling comfortable saying we didn't need that fish once we got back and looked at the numbers. But yeah, he caught that one on the last cast, and it was the middle of the summer, like July or August. So it was like 100 degrees, and yeah,
Summertime
that was probably the most memorable
is-
moment.
Yeah.
Now, was
Summertime
that
is-
the biggest fish y'all caught all year?
I think it might have been this year. I caught one at Bear that was probably about 5, but I think
Yeah.
that Sandy Creek fish was bigger.
We always
Okay.
have a big weigh-in.
So I want to ask something before we do. Welcome Ryan into it. All y'all that have not met him. This is Sam and Josh with Southern Outcasts. So I got a question to ask Josh, I'm not trying to down you or anything, because I know it happened during the TEC. You was actually fishing the TEC event. Y'all was without any back motor. Did y'all run y'all season without a back motor again during 2022?
Sort of. So we did one tournament. I have a 30 pound thrust Minn Kota that I threw on my kayak that I got. It's like $100 special from Academy. At Black Shoals, we put it on the back mostly to see if it helped with stability. And Josh had a like a DeWalt drill motor, so we ran it at blast off just for kicks and giggles. I don't know that it helped us any, but we had it for the last 2 tournaments, and it was purely there for a rudder, basically, to keep the back end from wanting to get crazy.
That motor did help. It gained us a half a mile per hour, which, as we all know, that's huge, especially at our rate. We're doing 470. It gets you like 520, 530. It's huge. But,
So did it actually help keep you tracking straight and you just steered with the front motor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, buddy, the biggest disadvantage to not having a motor on the back of your boat is boat control, or lack thereof. My boat swings around so bad, and I've gotten pretty good at controlling it just by not having a motor back there. And just having his 30-pound back there, not even running it, I'm just getting to stick the thing in the water and not even run it. Sometimes we don't even plan to run it, but we just want it as a rudder. You would be amazed how much it helps.
Especially because Josh went to lithium this year, so we lost a lot of weight in the back end, and that caused it to kind of get a little loose back there, more so.
Well, you're already on the subject. Why don't you tell us about your boat setup and what kind of electronics you run in and all that kind of stuff?
Got it. So it's a Tracker TX17. I think it's like a 97 model. Been taken really good care of till I got it. Put it, jumbo tournament fishing and worn it out. But so we got an Ultrex. Start at the bow, I guess, right? So we got an Ultrex 112 36 volts on the front. We got a live scope with a big screen on the front, run it off the Milwaukee 18-volt batteries with the C-Light adapter. I got a love-hate relationship with that battery setup for that. Then I got just a cheap Lowrance leak pipe shirt or something else up there. Had it forever. Keep on waypoints on it. Let's see. Got the console taken out now. We'll get to that in just a second. Got a lot of mods done. That's kind of another conversation. There's really nothing in the back. I've got the it's 150 amp eco-worthy lithium batteries from Amazon. Back when they sold the blue ones, I think it's like orange and green now labels, but it's the blue labeled ones. I don't think they sell them anymore. Been pretty happy with them so far. And like Sam said, it makes the boat too light, really. The back, you can be going wide open up the lake, and it's going crooked. like 30-degree angle at the lake. Seriously, if there's any wind blowing, the wind will blow it. We'll blow that back end around when it's just, especially when it's just me in there. It'll blow that back end around at full speed. So they're definitely lighter, that's for sure.
Is your decking and stuff all original, or did you add wood or aluminum or anything to make your decks bigger?
Yeah, it was, when I bought it, I guess it was an original aluminum decking. I don't know if those came with aluminum decking back then or not, but the deck is aluminum.
It looks original, the carpet and stuff.
Yeah, the carpet, it's just the thin, gray carpet. It's nothing. I'm telling you, it's nothing fancy at all. Look at the setup of live well in the compartments, and it's pretty standard to what I see in other not so special Tractor GX engines.
Your 36-volt trolling motor reminded me of a question that came up a couple of weeks ago. Did you have a 24 or a 12-volt setup before you went to the 36?
So I had let's see, I had both. I had the had an Ultrex 40, not an Ultrex, I had a Edge, Minnesota Edge 45, then I went to Minnesota Edge 70, which is a 24 volt. Then I stepped up to the Ultrex, which is a 36 volt. So I've had some of all.
I think you've only fished the 24 volt and the 36 on this boat, hadn't you? I think you got that 24 when you got this boat. We used to fish out of a 16-foot boat with a Haswing on the back and the 45 in the front, but that's been
okay.
Now that 70 was on. Hey Wes, that 70 was on this boat. I know because when I took it off, when I put the Ultrex on, and I think that's a 24 volt. That 70 pound Edge.
Yeah.
Sure. Did you notice any major differences or anything notable going from 24 volt up to 36 volt?
Yeah, because that's what we run with. That's our. We don't have a pusher. That is our running motor. That is, when we're running the lake at flat, we're blasting off with that. And the biggest differences that made a difference to me, we got what did I tell you when we put that thing on there, Sam? We had an extra battery and running those Trojan T1275s. No suckers. So we gained half mile an hour, maybe 1 mile an hour. But the biggest difference was we went to lithium. But if I had just a very simple 55-pound press on the back, which I probably get pretty simple, just to straighten things up, that's going to be huge. Not just for us, we're going to get from it, just to keep us straight.
Shoot, I got one up better than that. Whenever you go up to February at Blue Ridge and you win 2 e-propulsion motors and battery packs, slap that sucker on the back.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because I do want to bring that up. Like, of all the interviews we have ever done, okay, this is our 4th year running, we have never had an angler team that goes out there with just a bow mount motor and wins points champion. So, I mean, hats off to you, man, because I know that right there, it goes to show, though, speed is not everything in this sport. It's not.
Since you guys don't have speed, is there another element that you highly rely on to get good performance? Not necessarily out of the boat, but just to do good during the tournament?
And I think the biggest thing is just having a plan. It's real easy when you can, jump from one spot to the next, to get spun out quick or to miss what's going on. And I think there are a lot of times for us, it helps us that we have to think about what's the plan, what end of the lake do we need to be on. If we make a run to the other end of the lake, we've got to be intentional about it. So even though it takes us longer to run, maybe 20% longer to get from one spot to the next, the fact that we're forced to be more intentional about it means I think we really spend less time running than a lot of guys do because we have to. So.
There's a purpose behind it.
Right.
And I love
it's an decision we make as an investment. We can't just hop across the lake 2 miles and be like, well, if that doesn't work, we just bump over here. Like we're pretty much committed. But Sam and I, man, we could work really good together. We're both selfless, and we care more about the team than we do ourselves. We really always have. When you agree, Sam, we always have a plan B, plan C, plan D. Sometimes we want to go. Okay, I'll just give you an example. Hardlegger Creek. There's 3 main creeks in Hardlegger Creek, and ain't none of them little.
Right.
So any of them you go up, if you go to the end of any of them, you're committed. If you leave the main lake and go to the beginning of either of them, with certain boats, you're committed to a certain extent. at least for the first part of the day. So we say, hey, well, we want to go, let's just say the left creek, for example. If we go up that left creek, go all the way to the top, we can go anywhere we want to go with those batteries. But we can't go everywhere we want to go and still have time to fish. We could, we just wouldn't have time to fish in a tournament. So we say, okay, we've got 4 things up here, maybe 5 things up here, but we've got 1 that we know up here. Let's go this way, even though our favorite is this way. We've got, if we get beat to plan A, at least we have plan B, C, and D up here. And that has paid off, man. Sometimes our plan B, C, and D becomes our new favorite spot, or go-to, and it's not a popular spot. So at least if people see us sitting on it.
Would you say Wes Wilson's comments accurate? Plan A, throw the A-rig. Plan B, throw the A-rig.
Man, when he fished with Southern Outcast every tournament, he'd come back with a big fish. We'd be like, "What'd you catch it on?" "I caught it on an A-rig." Sometimes he'd come back with 2 big fish that he caught on the same cast.
Yeah.
Love
that
it.
boy all he throws is an A-rig. You don't have to ask. He comes back with a big fish, you know what he caught it on.
I wanna jump into a topic that is for folks that doesn't know this and is aware of this. Sam, and I don't know if Sam, you want me to just fully say this or not. I know you and I hadn't discussed it, and if so, I apologize. But Sam is the PFD and Just Catch Bass.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody has any questions, and Sam, if you want to kind of touch base in talking about your product lines and stuff like that for the viewers to know about it, you're also one of our Hooked Up Live sponsors through the TEC as well.
Yeah, I mean, just to be brief, PFD fishing is custom rods and stuff, and I build all my rods that I fish with in tournaments. So that's custom stuff. The flip side, Just Catch Bass, is more of simplified fishing, if you will. That's one thing that has been big for me, is simplifying what I'm doing. I mean, I throw 3 baits 95% of the time: finesse jig, crankbait, a trick worm. So with Just Catch Bass, basically I'm buying all of that stuff in bulk straight from manufacturers and then selling it online through that. And the idea is just simplify your fishing. This is all sure, you can throw other stuff, but if you get really good with those 3 things or 3 baits you have confidence in, you can go catch bass. And kind of the idea with that is to encourage people, hey, if you're thinking about bass fishing, it doesn't have to be as complicated as it looks when you walk into Bass Pro and they've got 10 acres of soft plastic baits for you to choose from.
I've checked it out. Y'all got some really, really good colors on the Just Catch website. Definitely noticed that.
Appreciate it. I just got an order of tungsten finesse jigs in yesterday in one color, PB&J, because that's the only color I throw. So I don't sell anything that I'm not throwing.
I can tell you this right now. Sam will pull out some stuff, and I'm like, "What is that? Where'd you get that?" And tell me where he got it. I'm like, "Man, this is a dadgum tournament performance." He didn't get that in a big box store or something. I don't want to divulge too much information, but I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And he'll be out fishing me. I won't be catching anything. He'll save the day. All right. And it took me like 2 or 3 years now. And I'm like, just trust him. He knows what he's doing. So Wes selling some stuff that works. It's effective.
Wes is saying he does need a rod guy. So right here's your man. Sam is the man.
Hey, hit me up, Wes.
Definitely get over and check him out. Send him a message through Facebook or through on his social media on his Facebook page on it as well. So I do want to kind of give one highlight. We've never really veered topic away from fishing when it comes to Hooked Up Live, but I do want to kind of give some recognition to you, Josh, because you have done something this year that really has been an inspiration. Just seeing your time with your family, that you have literally created moments this year that's going to literally last a lifetime. And it's out there on social media, and you can definitely plug in on that if you'd like and tell us about it.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And I'll just say this, Mary, the Lord has somehow blessed us for some reason. I don't know why. We started a YouTube channel. I started a YouTube channel for this stuff, for fishing. I feel like it's something that I don't want to say I'm good at it, but I feel comfortable in. That's why I know what I'm doing. So I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I did it, and then I made a mistake and took my camera or phones. I videoed the whole thing with the whole season of phones. Took my phones and videoed the first hunt with my daughter. When my daughter killed her first two deer, one of them was a giant, the other one wasn't little. And in one hunt, first hunt, I'm like, man, I got to put this on the channel. And it went viral. And it's got 90,000 views in a month, 2 months. So we got monetized in a month and she kept killing 2 and 3 deer a hunt. And she was 1 deer shy of killing a 12 deer limit, Georgia 12 deer limit this year. First year hunting. And like I said, I'm not bragging. That doesn't happen. I'm telling you. I said I want to do the fishing because that's what I feel like I was good at. I'm not good at the hunting. I spend a ton of time doing it. I've been very successful, but it's because I've spent hours and hours over my lifetime, days, weeks, years hunting. I've been hunting for 30 years. And compared to the time I spent and what I have to show for it, I just feel relatively unsuccessful, even though I've been very successful. But that happened. And the way that season went down, that hunting season went down, it was a miracle. Lord bless us for some reason. I don't know. And we want to glorify Him through that. I believe that's what we've done. And that's what we intend to continue to do. So, yeah, check it out. It's called Chronicles of the Creeks on YouTube. I'm not asking you to subscribe unless it's something you're really going to watch. There's a lot that goes into that. But, if you want to subscribe, that's awesome. Follow along with us. And we're going to try to do some fishing, too. We're taking the family crappie fishing Monday at school. We're going to try to do some crappie fishing. Same creek. Maybe make a video out of that, maybe not.
I would say, go ahead, Sam.
Subscribe, you might get to watch me fall out of the boat at the TEC again. It'd be a rough year for that to happen. Juliet wasn't too bad, but Blue Ridge is going to be.
That's not going to be fun.
No.
There'll be a couple of boats out there for filming and stuff, so make sure we'll give some phone numbers away. Just make sure to make phone calls if anybody does fall in. Definitely. But if you don't mind, I actually wound up posting. I did the one video where your daughter had killed those 2 giant bucks, Josh, and posted it on the comments. That way, folks could go back at a later time and check it out. But I know you ain't got to worry about it. You're probably also willing to give away some deer meat as well, too. Probably, right?
We gave away a ton. She filled our freezer up in the first week or 2 or less, and I'm like, man, and then now processors are charging $100 a pop, and I'm like, I see how this season's going to go down. I ain't doing this. So we started calling friends. We donated she donated several to Hunters for the Hungry. That's awesome. It's been a good season for a lot of people. She blessed a lot of people with some deer meat.
That is awesome. And you've definitely probably got your cardio in by dragging all the deer for the year, right?
Oh, dude, it was, you have no idea. She, and I can't tell you how tough she was. She's 8 years old. And every time she was out on school break, I was dragging her out of bed early. I didn't make her go. I'm like, hey, want to go hunting? Every time. Mm-hmm. She wakes up quicker than I do. I got to say, she wakes up quicker than Sam does, too. By the way. But she never slept in. The only time she slept in is when she was up at my in-laws' house at Annie Papa's. She slept in up there, certain parts of Christmas break. She was up and at 'em, man, working hard, climbing trees.
That's awesome.
Crazy. She made me proud.
Ryan, Chris, fire away.
You think she'll ever? I'm still on the YouTube channel. That's pretty cool. You think she'll ever get into wanting to process her own deer?
Well, it's funny you should say that. We'll see, because a little backstory. I grew up doing that. My dad, I don't know if he's watching right now, but he raised us doing all that ourselves. And then I killed the biggest deer I ever killed, and I rode around town and showed it to everybody I knew. And he gave us tickets to the Georgia-South Carolina game that day. That was 5-6 years ago. 140-inch 10-pointer. I showed everybody I knew. I'm like, man, I'd be late for this Georgia game. I got to go. And I didn't have time to clean the doggone deer, so I dropped it off at the processor. Huge mistake. I said, man, that is too easy. And I started doing that ever since. And the way I justified it was, I have girls. I don't have boys. I don't have to be responsible and teach my boys how to do this stuff. The girls are just going to take the processor anyway. But we're going to be doing our own next year. It's pretty expensive. So we're getting a freezer, we're getting a cuber, getting a grinder, and we're doing our own. We'll see if they're interested or not. I'll let you know.
Yeah, deer get expensive. I quit paying a processor years ago. I bought all my own stuff. If y'all ever want to try it, you're more than welcome to give me a call. I'll gladly loan you whatever I got if you want to teach her how to do it. And all the jerky making and grinding and slicing and cubing, I got all that stuff.
I enjoy doing it. It takes time. It's a little bit of commitment. But when you're talking $100, $100 a deer, at this point, it's worth it. When they were charging 60, with the gut fee, just take it and drop it off. Never have to even touch a deer once you get the truck. I mean, it was too easy. But now at $100 a pop, when your daughter's killing 11 deer in a season, and historically, my wife killed about half that many in a year. So this year, she kind of, we dedicated our season completely.
How many did you kill, Josh?
You have to ask Eric.
I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess.
How many
I
did you
killed one.
kill?
Killed one.
But I'm gonna tell you what, does it not go down as probably the most memorable season ever, though?
It was the best deer season I ever had. That first deer she killed was a famous deer. We're calling her the assassin now because that deer she shot a famous deer. Me and my brother, her uncle, had hunted this deer for 2 years. We named him Punk. I didn't name him Punk. My brother and his daughter did. I don't know why, but it stuck. So we were chasing this deer, and we'd never seen him in person. We just had truck on pictures of him. 30 minutes. Well, we were in our stand before daylight, and that deer walked up under us, and he stayed there for 30, 45 minutes till it got daylight, and she could get it to her shot. Just, here I am. And she killed him right there. And then she turned around and shot another 90-inch 8-pointer, which is bigger than a lot of grown men have killed their entire lives. Like 45 minutes later, tagged out on bucks right there. That's the video you posted.
That is awesome.
That's pretty
So
cool.
Steve-
How's she doing with fishing so far?
She does pretty good with fishing. We'll let her like reel in fish sometimes, but I've really tried to like make her catch her own fish. Really want to, the tough love kind of stuff. Want to teach a man to fish, give a man to fish, kind of contrast. So this year, my goal is to teach her how to use a spinning rod. She's been using the spin cast, push buttons and stuff. She caught her first fish on a Ned rig at Sandy Creek. It was about this long, barely legal, and we got it mounted for her. Laying in a room next to her European mount of her smaller buck. So we're going to learn the spinning reel this year. We'll do a YouTube video or maybe a series of them on how to use a spinning reel effectively, and we'll use some footage of her actually learning how to use a spinning reel.
Okay. Well, it sounds like Sam's got a couple more safe years before you got to kick him out of the boat and put her on the trail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get my boat set up the way I want it.
So Steve Garmer's got a question. Do you and Sam have a victory whistle after tournament wins?
Oh, that's funny. Hey, you know what? We need one. We love tradition over at Chronicles of the Creek. Steve's one of our loyal followers over at Chronicles, and what he's referring to is when we kill a deer. My dad started a tradition when I was a small child. We'd kill a deer. What's up, Jared? Or little members. We'd ride down the road, take our empty cartridge, hold it out the window at 60 miles per hour, and make it whistle. And everybody, all the neighbors and everybody in the community here, what in the world is that? We call it our victory whistle. And my girls just love that as much as we did as a kid. Wheatley missed. She don't miss much. She missed, I think, one this year. She shot one. I was good with that. But she'll take that whistle. She's like, "Hey, got a victory whistle, right?" I'm like, "I ain't a victory whistle, baby. That's just a spent cartridge. We got to put the deer in the back of the truck, take it for a ride in F-150, call it a victory whistle."
So let's hear something. Sam, you was saying just a second ago, you have a boat also that you're getting set up?
Yeah, I mean, I have one that I fish out of and fish with my dad and my father-in-law and my wife and stuff. And I fished a couple tournaments. We fished one tournament where his boat was in the shop and we had to fish out of mine. But I like to tinker on boats. So I buy, sell, and trade boats all the time. So I have a different boat every time you see me. But I also have a kayak. I started fishing some kayak tournaments. So that's primarily what I fish out of now.
Oh, got a kayak guy. The last couple of folks we interviewed weren't so happy about kayakers.
Yeah. Josh doesn't like them either, but he likes my boat because the last time I had it out on Bear Creek, I hopped in the back of the boat. I got there before him, practiced for a couple hours, and then I hopped in the back of his boat, and I got a remote trolling motor on the front, so I just followed us around the lake with my kayak while I fished out of the back of his boat, and he was pretty
Also,
by that.
it's also nice when my rope breaks when I'm fishing by myself and I'm launching my boat, breaking ice to do it at Lake Varner, and my boat goes drifting across the main lake away from me, and I got somebody I can call to give me a ride in my boat.
Now, what kind of kayak do you have?
It is an Ascend, which is a Bass Pro model. I think it's the H12. It's actually a canoe kayak hybrid.
Yeah.
And
I've actually been on one before. I got a buddy with one.
Okay, yeah. The funny story how I got it. I bought an Ascend, the 10-foot DT, was it the D10T, to fish out of a couple years ago, and it was kind of so-so. It was a little small, especially to put a motor on, and then I sold it to buy a ring. My grandpa gave me a diamond, and I needed a ring to put it in, so I sold that boat, bought a ring, got married, and then my father-in-law had the 12-foot boat sitting in his shop, so he gave it to me. So that's how
I would have kept the kayak.
I'm just messing. Krista is a very, very sweet woman. I don't know what she sees in Sam. I'm just kidding with you, Sam. That was a good decision.
Yeah, so well, do you kayak fish in lakes and stuff, or you got some little secret spots you like to go to?
Yeah, the last tournament I fished was Allatoona. So some of them are on bigger lakes. It's really good for like the stuff that we fish, Bear and Sandy Creek and stuff. Because I can run about 4.5 miles an hour in that thing, so I can scoot around faster in that than I can in my boat. So it's good for getting out and practicing by myself. And I fished some of the mountain lakes too. I went to school up in Demarest, so I fished a lot of the lakes on the Tallulah River, Yonah, Burton, Seed, Raven. So I go up there and fish from time to time.
Tell them what you're famous for over on Yonah.
What was that?
Tell them what you're famous for over on Yonah. What you catch over at Lake Yonah?
Fishing against Josh one morning. I caught the lake record largemouth in Yonah.
In a spot I told you about.
So you didn't tell me about that. I've heard you tell that
story.
I did.
So you hold
me after the fact. You asked me where I caught it, and I told you. I said that's a good spot. But I found it on Google Earth the night before.
So you hold the lake record for Yonah for largemouth?
I don't know if it still is. That's been a couple years, and it's of all the lakes in North Georgia, that's one of the smaller. It's like, what was it, like 8, 9, 8, 10, something like that. So it's not like Lanier where it's 17 pounds and it won't ever be broken. So, and it's been broken a couple times the year before I did it. So it may not be the record anymore.
Here it is. Lake Yonah record fish largemouth bass, 8 pound 2 ounces. Sam Thomas, March 30th, 2019.
Yeah, I hooked one that was bigger than that last summer. So there's some monster fish in there. So if anybody wants to go catch a lake record, that's where the low hanging fruit is.
I know Sam.
Yonah's never a trip wasted, whether you get a bite or not.
It's a pretty lake.
It is a beautiful lake.
It is. Sam, of all the gas lakes in North Georgia, it is by far the best for fishing because you don't have jet skiers, party boats. Like if there's somebody there, they're there to go fishing.
I know, Sam, you and I had talked about it for past couple of years, wanting to get up there and start tackling them walleye. So I know I've ventured a little close to it. I've started tackling some yellow perch, but that walleye is going to be coming up very, very soon.
Yep.
So we got a question, I think a couple of comments coming in. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Keep firing away any questions you got. Cody Silvers is asking Josh, any way you could get Sam to wake up as easy as your girl in the mornings?
No.
Is there something?
That's probably the biggest obstacle on any given tournament day is me getting woke up in the mornings. So
then Zach Colsey saying he knows that Josh remembers the kayakers on Hard Labor Creek last year.
I remember kayakers I just forget it. Try my best to forget them everywhere. They all blend together. The ones that the worst are at Sandy Creek. The college kids over there. They just are notable.
Well, it's like jet skis. When you have people that didn't buy their boat, and usually people out on kayaks didn't, there's no investment to know, the etiquette of the lake, and they just out there oblivious to the fact that, they're being real rude.
2 years ago at Hard Labor Creek when we had the state championship there was a pretty big scale kayak tournament going out of Hard Labor the same day.
They were having some type of championship too, weren't they, or something?
Yeah, they were super awesome guys because I know they kind of even waited till we all blasted off first. So I don't know which group it is. If they ever watch this video down the road, hats off to y'all. We greatly appreciate y'all.
Yep.
Fire away, Ryan, Chris.
Ryan, you got anything?
Nah. What lakes do you guys fish in your trail?
So we fish as far
If you just
north
showed up
as-
on time, you'd have known. They already talked about that.
Sorry.
We, yeah. Get here when you can. Get here when you can.
Okay.
If it's within an hour of the loop in Athens and you can park more than 10 boat trailers there, we probably fish it. So there's a couple lakes like Yargo and Little Russell that we don't fish because parking's commerce. We don't fish those, but pretty much everything else is within an hour of Athens.
Okay.
If you don't mind me asking, why don't y'all fish Yargo?
Parking's pretty rough. We've gone, or I have gone to look, and I've never been happy with the way parking looks.
It's
I
tough.
love it.
I heard they're charging like a pretty astronomical fee to fish it these days. Like they put tournaments, now you can do it again, but you got to pay a fee. And we just don't have anything left over. That's one change coming with our club is I don't want to say too much before I give it out to our members, but we're going to change some stuff with our membership fees. But as it is right now, previously it's been a $30 membership fee. It's fixing to change, but there's nothing left over. We've got very little payout at our classic. And we just don't have a lot of fees to pay towards stuff like that.
So Yargo, if I remember right, because we actually have it on our schedule this year. We had it on our schedule last year in our club locally. So it's the same thing in the state parks type deal. DNR, if you have over, I think they upped it from where it used to be like 22 or 24 boats. Now it's up to like 30 boats. That's where the fees do come in to where it is very, very, very pricey. Then you have to have like proof of liability insurance and everything else like that. But if it's a smaller group, which I'd assume y'all's club is probably excess of that possibly.
I've been pumping the brakes really hard on our club, cutting off membership, just so that we can fish Cedar Creek, Sandy Creek, these smaller, more intimate lakes that we like, have always fished. Because our club's based out of Athens, and there's only a couple lakes in Athens, being one of them. And, so we've had, 22 boats. We have 17, 18 consistently, and I'm trying to get down even below that. But, no, I don't think it would be the point, like you're talking about, 40 boats.
So let's talk about Blue Ridge. Y'all been up there? You laid eyes on it yet?
No.
I have been up there previously once or twice and, haven't really fished a whole lot, but kind of wandered around on the kayak looking at it. And spent a lot of time looking at it on the map. And, it's a lot like most of those mountain lakes. It's probably got more rock in it than most of them do, but,
Very rocky contours in that lake. It's not got a lot of structure into it, but it's mostly it's rock everywhere.
Yeah, and
you can't find nothing on forward facing sonar on that lake. Nothing.
Well, then the map research is, I won't say it's useless, but it's not as helpful as it is on most lakes because that lake stays low all the time, so you can't go back in time and find your brush piles and your rock piles and your humps and stuff. So, you can find it. It's just out of the water when you get there to fish.
And that is one thing. A lot of the maps on it that's got all the fish attractants on it. Almost every one of them's out of water. So, so Donnie,
there's some really good stuff on that lake that if it's ever full, man, there's some dynamite spots when the lake's full. I'm assuming there's probably some great spots under, still in the water, but there's some real good looking stuff that's not.
Yeah. I mentioned on the Tuesday night live, so I just kind of want to take a brief moment and remind everybody, if you're planning on going up, the TEC competitors, to Lake Blue Ridge, putting in at the marina, just FYI, letting you know this, it's accessible. The left ramp has actually received some damages to it. They're building a floating dock. It's going to be attached on the furthest dock that they rent out for boat slips. But as they were driving equipment down it, it actually damaged portions of the ramps, caused a couple of sinkholes on the outside part of that ramp. So just as long as you hug the inside of it as you go down, it's totally cool. You can put it in. Hopefully they don't damage it worse, but they were saying that they're going to be making some repairs to it before our TEC event. So no worries there. Ryan, Chris, fire away.
So I know, Sam, you'd mentioned that you fished a lot of mountain lakes. Are y'all comfortable going up Blue Ridge? Or y'all nervous? You got some jitters about it, or how do y'all feel?
Personally, I won't speak for Josh. Personally, I'm more excited about this one than the last two. Not necessarily because I feel like I know Blue Ridge better than Juliet or Hard Labor, but because there's so many guys at both of those tournaments that know those two lakes like the back of their hand. And I feel like it's going to be, a little more even playing field. I'm sure there are guys that are going to be there that fish Blue Ridge a lot, but I feel better about it just knowing how well people know Hard Labor, how well people know Juliet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you, Josh?
Sam raises a very good point. I would agree with him 100% on what he said. I still wouldn't say that I feel good about it. Better, maybe, but I feel like time of year it is. Our first tournament's at Hartwell this year, January 28th, coming up, a couple weeks. I've been out there 2 times the past 3 days and 0. Never was full days either time, but still, we do pretty good in the winter and summer. But these new lakes, you really need no lake to do well on it in the dead of winter, dead of summer. And you don't really have any experience on Blue Ridge at all, so the mountain. So I don't know. We got the live scope, but at the same time, that could really hurt us. I don't know what to do.
But one thing that's good about going to a fishery that's chock full of spotted bass, it's literally going to be ounces to everybody fighting for ounces. So I believe we're going to see a pretty tight line of first place through to like 5th place of just ounces to win. So
what's y'all's prediction for the win on the TEC? What's it going to take to win?
All I know is what I've heard other people say, ounces around 15, 16 pounds range. I don't know. Other than that, I can't say.
Yeah, I think probably at least 16, maybe 17 and a half. From what I've seen, I've looked up a lot of results from club tournaments and stuff up there, and there's a lot of tournaments where it's lots of 12, 13, 14, 15-pound bags. So in that time of year, I know the mountain lakes, they're a little behind, so maybe they're not going to be full pre-spawn, but that time of year, there's going to be some fat fish.
So Daniel Nikolai is telling y'all both, awesome job last year. It was really cool to see y'all win at the last event. So.
Thank you, Nikolai. Yeah, that was he nailed the buzzer on that one. I tell you, hey, I want to give a shout out to Cox, Blaine Cox, and Jordan Cox, Blaine Cox. We were chasing them all season long, and it was crazy how it went down there at the very, very last minute. Those guys are tough to beat.
Yep.
If truth be told, they may deserve to be here more than us. I don't know. Maybe we got lucky. Maybe just I don't want to divulge too much information. He might not appreciate me saying, or Sam might not appreciate me saying. I don't know, but the way it went down was interesting, and they're tough guys to beat. So it really was, like Nikolai said, at the last minute.
Yeah. First and second were
figuring up points at the last, like at the weigh in.
I think it was like 1 or 2 points for first and second, and then third was third was still, they did well, but it wasn't remotely close to how close first and second was. So it was, I think the first 2 boats locked down top 4, like 2 tournaments left in the season. Like those guys were killing it.
Wow. So Cody Silvers is bringing it up, saying, wanting to see a 4-pound smallmouth come to the scales at Blue Ridge. What do y'all men think? I know, Josh, you really hadn't had experience there with it, but Sam, you've been there before in the past. Have you caught any smallies? Do you expect to see some come in?
Yeah, I haven't. I studied fisheries when I was in school and was kind of kept up with talked to a lot of the biologists and stuff, and that lake used to have 4-pound smallies in it, but I would, I haven't fished it a whole lot, but just from what I know, I would be shocked if somebody weighed in a 4-pound smallmouth. Probably be a lot of 4-pound spots and some 4-pound largemouths, but I'd be shocked if we see a 4-pound smallie. That's
So
just they don't do well with spotted bass.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, not at all. And it wasn't that long ago. I think like 10 years ago, it was still a pretty decent smallmouth fishery. But Chattooga, I found an old, I forget which magazine it was, one of the fishing magazines from like the 80s, and they were talking about Chattooga as one of the best, Lake Chattooga is one of the best smallmouth fisheries in the country, world class. And I don't know that anybody's caught, more than 2 smallmouth out of that lake in a day in my lifetime. Those spots, they
So is that just
wreck the
competition
smallmouth.
for food, or is that like what? Why don't they get along? Or I don't know very much about the
Yeah,
difference.
so there's a couple of things. The biggest thing with bass, you kind of have a spectrum with black bass. You have largemouth, which are the most like they're almost swamp dwellers, so to speak. They're very much shallow water, muddy water, and then on the extreme other spectrum, you get smallmouth and shoal bass, the more river bass, and the river bass hybridize like crazy. So anytime you take 2 species of river bass and put them in the same place, one of them is going to wipe out the other one pretty quick.
Gotcha.
Largemouth, because they're so different from all of them, they different habitat and genetically different. But those river bass, they just don't.
And I may be totally missing it, but I think we talked about it in one of the other previous lives. I may be getting a DNR biologist to come on one of our hooked up lives, possibly before the TEC event, to maybe talk about the fishery as a whole. But one thing that I had found out, Josh was on the call, being his club president. We had talked about it, Blue Ridge being a fishery that a couple of years ago was actually, when they were out there doing shock studies, there were multiple state records spotted bass swimming in that lake. And that was one of the contributing factors to why we chose that lake. But what happened, inevitably a few years later, a bacterial growth got pretty strong in the lake. I'm not saying that was what killed off those smallmouth, but just like what Sam was talking about, competition between the spotted bass, everything else, I think probably held a very, very strong factors of they're few and far between left in there anymore. So, but yeah, it's my PB smallmouth came from there about probably, I don't know, 20 years ago or so. It was about
I bet
5.
It was a great smallmouth fishery then.
Yeah, mine was 5. I think it weighed 525. Is what I'd caught. So there's old Moon Dust himself, Nate Eckel. What's going on, Nate?
Nate.
So, man, y'all got any more questions? Ryan, Chris?
As you can see, Sam is sort of a mad scientist when it comes to fish biology, marine biology. It's funny how that translates to our relationship with being on the water. I'm like, well, what do you think we need to do? We think about this over here, and Sam will say, well, we'll pick on you in a minute, Sam. Sam will say, well, there's a distinct possibility. There's a lot of distinct possibilities. There's a distinct possibility that since this happened over here and we got this blooming, there's this on the moon lined up with these stars over here, that this creek could be produced like everything we've ever done with this creek. Yeah, scientifically, this makes sense. I mean, he just has so much knowledge that I don't have. Sometimes it causes us to conflict, and I've learned a lot from this. Pretty interesting.
Sam, I got a question then I ask you. I went out one time with a guide inshore fishing. I want to see if you feel the same way on this. When the bite's tough, say you've been out there all day and the bite's just been just horrible, and it's, say, a full moon, or if not a full moon, just whatever phase the moon's in. Hey, do you believe in where if the moon is setting during the day and the bite's been tough, then all of a sudden once that moon gets to right where it sets, they're going to turn on?
I don't think for freshwater it makes as much of a difference. I've heard for pretty much anything tidal, like moon makes a huge difference. I don't think so. Some guys swear by that. I don't think the moon makes a huge difference. I'm sure it makes some, but especially too on these electric only lakes because these lakes are small, not a lot of gravitational pull in the water. I don't think so. But
So I want to ask you another question. Y'all was talking about just Sam being the fish studier, with forward facing sonar. Do y'all both stand up front watching the graphs together, or is it pretty much one guy only?
I'll take that one. So, all right, my boat is my graph, but dude, I'm telling you, I can't use it like Sam can. And sometimes, there's 2 times particularly when I have to swallow my pride and just let Sam be in control. 2 times that stand out, maybe more than that. But one is when fish are on the bed. I'm not a bed fisherman. He sees a fish on the bed that could help us out. I've got to just move the let him have the motor and do what he wants to do. And I just fish out in the wild blue yonder somewhere and leave it alone. So then the second time is if I'm seeing fish that I'm certain are bass, and I just can't get him to commit, he can. And I refer to him as, I call him Sam the Surgeon Thomas because what's the guy, Major League Fishing, a former Major League Fishing announcer, I forget his name, bald-headed guy. Anyway, Stone, yes, he referred to someone as, he said they would surgically remove a fish from the lake, and that's what Sam does. I call him the surgeon. When times are tough, that is the guy I'm really glad to have in my boat. When they're good, I can power fish with the best of them, put big fish in the boat, man, and they're tough. That's when Sam really, really shines, and that live scope has helped him more than it has helped me. Therefore, it really has helped our team. I just got to let him have it sometimes.
So fish behavior, Sam, curiosity, and Josh, both of y'all, do you see those times forward facing sonar to where it's just like a particular time you can look at a fish and know that they just ain't going to do nothing just by the way they're swimming? Can you tell that by looking at them?
I mean, I can't. I can tell when a bait gets in front of them pretty quick whether you're wasting your time sticking with them or if they're gonna react to it. But I can't. Some guys can ride down the lake, look at that thing, and say that's a fish that's gonna eat. I have no idea before bait gets in front of it whether it's gonna eat. So no, just hadn't spent enough time behind it, I guess.
So I got one last question. I keep firing out a bunch left and right, but deep water. I know Hartwell's got some depth contours to it. Does deep water intimidate y'all? Do y'all feel more comfortable shallow fisheries, or coming up Blue Ridge for the state event next month? Does it kind of worry y'all a little bit fishing deeper water?
I'll let Josh go first.
I would say offshore, we excel. Winter, summertime, offshore, we do really good. We're comfortable offshore, but that's offshore in 8, 10, 12, 15 foot of water. Offshore in 60 foot of water, fishing for fish to spend 30, 40 foot of it, I got a lot to learn.
Yeah. I pretty much would echo that exactly. Down to about 18 feet, 20 feet, perfectly comfortable. Beyond that, you just got there's so much line between you and the fish, and it's a lot. I don't, my hope is that you be able to catch them without getting down below 20 feet. I'm of the mindset that there's always fish up shallow on the bank wanting to eat if you know where to find them. So
just be glad we ain't fishing Carter's Lake, right? Fish Carter's Lake, you'll be throwing out in 100 foot of water catching spotted bass.
Hey, can I give a shout out to somebody right quick before I forget?
Yeah, sure.
We got the TV Nation fellas here. Anybody named Steve Garman? Ring any bells? I just chimed in a while ago, but I think Steve works with you guys, right?
That name sounds familiar.
Might have seen him a time or two, but
Steve's a good friend of mine. He's helped me a lot. A lot of info on some tournaments, some lakes I've never been on. Excuse me. Lakes I have been on, just new spots. I like to think I've helped him some too. But he just did a lot of modifications to my boat. When you look at the boat, it looked pretty much the same as it did when I got it to him, but let me tell you, it is not the same boat. It is not the same boat. The most obvious thing is the console's gone now. So thank you, Steve, for that. I'm a fat kid. I love my leg space, my leg room. I love to store junk, extra clothing, just cluttered places to put it. That is nice having that out of the boat. But can I go through what Steve did for me? And is that okay?
Absolutely.
TV Nation, I asked him, he said it'd be fine with me, any conflict with you guys. So, but I was pretty impressed with everything he did for me. It started with my boat was biting me. It was shocking me. Every time I unhooked a battery or hooked up a battery, or like Sam's motor we were talking about, if I wanted to hook it up, I had to undo it. I stick that wrench on the battery terminals, and it would send electricity up my doggone arm. And it was not any fun. I knew it was something I did to it. I didn't know what. Over the years, I've done a couple of things to that boat, messing stuff up. It was in bad shape. Well, Steve completely rewired it with marine grade wiring, and starting on the front. So he put my shunt that I had, my gauge that shows how many volts and whatnot, battery percentage I got. He mounted that on the front, put a new receptacle for my trolling motor in front, a recessed foot pedal tray. He also, a couple of things. A live well timer, a new live well pump. When he took the console out, all my switches were on my console. So he put a new switch panel on that driver's side gunnel right there. Looks nice and neat, really, really clean. He put a new fuse box getting up into a compartment, TV Nation fuse box, sharp looking. Back on the back, he put breakers in back there. He put one breaker for my 36 volt trolling motor, another breaker, or I guess it's a switch, for everything else, and mounted it. I just reach in and turn it. So I think he put new running lights. He did a lot of stuff. He put in my compartments. I would have rods broken because I had my rod box up, pulling a rod out, arm way out like this, and the rod box slam on the rod tip and break my rods. I had that happen a couple of times. So he put gas struts, shocks on all my front compartments. So that when I open the lids, they stay open. Then he had to put latches on it to keep them closed from popping up going down the road. So it's a different boat. It looks the same, but I'm telling you, it's just like a different boat. It's awesome. I'm super happy with it. He didn't charge me enough, but I got it to him in deer season. Getting boats sometimes beside deer season. He might have a big deer show up on camera. Might take him there. So, but no, he did a great job. Like I said, he can get it for a daggone deal.
That's awesome.
Used a bunch of TV Nation stuff. And their knowledge and resources probably helped him a little bit too. And I'm super pumped with any dealings I've had with him so far. TV Nation guys, they know what they're doing. You trust them. You know it's done right.
That's awesome.
Appreciate that. Yeah, Steve's a great guy.
Yeah.
Ryan, Chris, any other questions?
I was just curious about y'all's about your fishing styles. Y'all got any go-to methods or go-to baits that y'all like to keep in the boat, or y'all pretty fluid and move around a lot and do different stuff?
Sam, you'll start.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a handful of things that we have a lot of confidence in. I like to think we're pretty versatile, but at the same time, I think, we do a pretty good job of simplifying. So like I said, I was thinking back this tournament season, there was one tournament where I threw a popper. Other than that, it's a finesse jig, a crankbait, a trick worm, either on a shaky head or a drop shot. And that's almost all of my fishing, and you just kind of simplify when you have stuff you have confidence in. So that stuff stays on the deck of the boat. Now with crankbait, I might have 5 different rods with different crankbaits rigged up, but that's the bulk of what I do. So Josh, what about you?
I'll start by saying, Sam mentioned that finesse jig, and I am absolutely loving his new found love for a finesse jig. Same as a finesse fish, I mentioned that. And for him to pick up a finesse jig had been a game changer for us. There's been at least a couple tournaments where things were pretty tough, but we had to slow down and drag something. He picked a jig instead of a drop shot or shaky head, which there was times when I was begging him to throw his shaky head. I knew it needed to be thrown, but it wasn't my bait. And he picks up that finesse jig instead and catches quality fish with it. And he just kept it going. And I think that's one of the new favorites. And that makes me, if you fish a jig, you understand what I'm saying right now. To have another jig in your boat, going out and coming back, that is huge. That is a huge help. So that, I don't know, I guess I'm being too dramatic with it, but I was very pleased with that change. Myself, when times are good, I love a trap. Dad got me started throwing a trap from a young age. One of the first bass I remember catching as a youngster was on a rattle trap at Lake Russell, Middleton, not far from the boat ramp. And didn't know what I was doing. I caught a dang fish on it. I was probably 203 pounds. So I love a trap when times are good. I love a spinnerbait when times are good. Square bills are pretty good. Traps and spinnerbaits for me are hard to beat. When times are tough,
a lot of money on traps.
Yeah, traps have been probably our MVP. And when times are tough, for me, like Sam goes to drop shot or shaky head or something, next jig I'll go to usually a Carolina rig. You can laugh all you want. People are like, I can't throw a Carolina rig. I can't do that. Too slow. And they turn right around and pick up a Ned rig. I've seen it happen in my boat. I'm going to pick on Aaron Bland for a little bit. Aaron, you can afford some picking on, okay? You want to know. Ain't enough of my money. Aaron Bland told me that one day. I love you, Aaron, if you're watching. But we're fishing our tournament in January, first tournament of the year, Sandy Creek this year. We won it. But I'm throwing a Carolina rig, and he said, I just can't do that. I'm catching fish here or there on it. Nobody's catching much of that. It's tough. So I just can't do that. And so he turns around and he picks up a Ned rig. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't throw a Carolina rig, but you can throw that. I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense to me, but that is my go-to, man. I love a Carolina. And I fish it with a heavy weight when it's tough, but I like a pretty finesse worm. That's a pretty deadly combination. I don't mind telling folks that because they're going to fish it, not have confidence in it, turn around and pick up something else.
When the bite is tough, I will straight up just look at him and be like, hey, you throwing a Carolina rig? You got a Carolina rig rigged up? Because there have been days where it was just miserable and we couldn't get bit. And the next thing you know, he picks up a Carolina rig, and in 20 minutes, he's put like 10 pounds in the boat. And I'm one of those people, I will throw one when he's catching them on a Carolina rig, but I don't have the patience for it. But man.
Sam has recently picked up a Carolina rig and done very well. He'll throw a finesse Carolina rig. Does real good with it, like a true finesse Carolina rig. But there have been days when, in practice, I knew it was going to be a tough tournament. Everybody was struggling. Nobody was catching more than a couple, 3 fish. And my Carolina rig was the only thing consistent. So at blast off, the first thing I pick up, and it's a Carolina rig, and the only thing I fish all day is a Carolina rig. It pays off.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
So, Sam, I've noticed you like the finesse stuff, huh?
Sam does, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Well, I grew up, we got a farm pond in the woods behind the house, and I grew up fishing down there as a kid. I was homeschooled, so when I finished school, I could go down there and fish.
Okay.
When you've only got 3 acres to fish in, it don't make a whole lot of sense to power fish because you're going to fish the whole lake in 20 minutes.
Right.
So I got real good with the shaky head and finesse fishing stuff. And, so that's kind of what that's how I learned how to bass fish. So.
Okay. I was just curious. I heard that pop up a few times from you, so I was just wondering.
Yeah.
So Josh, Chris Gayton was saying that you know a thing or two about some flat fishing and some reds and trouts too.
Oh man, that stuff stole my heart. I'm telling you, I've tried for years when we go to the beach to catch fish from the beach. Took a different approach this year and joined the Salt Strong online fishing community. Got a membership there. Started talking to folks. Got some inside information, and man, had the best beach trip I ever had. And we're planning another one this year. Yeah, Chris was down there same time we were. And, I told him everything that we did, what we caught him unaware. Maybe it helped him some, and I think they caught some fish too. But that is, if I lived down there, I would never. Well, I shouldn't say this right here. I'll probably never fish another bass tournament again. That's some fun stuff.
Yeah, Chris.
Catching these redfish in the bays, all right, down on the Forgotten Coast, believe it or not, somewhere on the Forgotten Coast in Florida. In the bays, you got these docks that are more like piers. They run 200 yards out into the bays, and throwing your bait up under it, and bringing it back. These fish hit it underneath the dock, and they take off between the pilings. So you have to run underneath this dock, and you're going like this, holding your spinning rod, chasing these fish down, and your reel is just in the water, the salt water, and you're chasing fish as fast as you can go. Try not to break your rod tip on these supports, and chase them down. And then they dart left into the open water or right, and you chase them down and hope they haven't rubbed your line on the barnacles to break you off. I caught a 28. The biggest redfish I caught was a 28 and a quarter inch red. It was inch and a quarter over slot. Man, it was a magical trip. I'd wake up early in the mornings and go fishing while my wife and kids were still in bed, and then I'd come back and pick them up and go sit on the beach during the day and surf fish.
Redfish eat horrible, don't they?
Oh my gosh, trout are even better. They're good. Trout are even better. If y'all want to talk saltwater fishing, call me up. We'll talk for days.
Steve Garman was telling you, thanks, Josh, for the shout out on that.
Love you, Steve.
Ryan, Chris, anything else for y'all, man?
Congratulations, guys.
I do also want to mention this too. If anybody has any questions, feel free to fire away. We'll kind of get to where we conclude the show. So, Chris, you got any questions?
No, just big congratulations to both of you guys. Sounds like y'all had an awesome season. Look forward to seeing y'all at the TEC.
Appreciate it.
I want to give a shout out to just our club members as a whole. I think we got the best total electric club out there. I think we got the best bass club out there in Forest because they don't put up any foolishness. But we don't allow any cussing at weigh-in. Cameras can be rolling. You can bring your children, grandchildren to watch our weigh-ins, and we don't put up with it. But we have attracted salt of the earth type members, and I'm telling you, guys, love every one of us watching. Love my whole club. We got the best club out there. Something really good.
That is awesome. I know we kind of touched base on it. I think last year or year before last when we sat down and interviewed, the relationships that's been built between all of us in the TEC is it's lifelong. And I know I appreciate both y'all men, Josh and Sam. Congratulations to both of y'all. And again, shout out for Sam, his business. Get over there, check him out. And I know I haven't done this yet, but also just that way folks know, not only all of our sponsors for the Nights of Lights, you can go through to our website, Georgia Bass-TEC, and also just kind of mention this as well. Josh Griffith also, correct me right, what's your company's name again?
You're referring to Guardian Homebuyers?
Yes. You wound up giving a donation through for the Nights of Light that we're very, very, very appreciative of. So I'll be making a social media post on that very, very soon. So appreciate both of you men.
Appreciate you, man.
So if there's no other questions, man, again, congrats on y'all's points championship. Glad everybody is safe from the storms. And us folks up here in the mountains, I think I've seen where they're talking like some possible snow tomorrow. So I'll be at home getting over this cold because I have been feeling very, very rough for the past couple of days.
We get that snow out of our system now, so it'll be nice and warm for the TEC.
I hope so. I hope so.
There aren't a lot of warm February days in the Blue Ridge area, so we'll see.
I'm telling y'all, I was out there last weekend, and y'all, it was saying 60 degrees here at Jasper, where I live, Pickens County, and when we was up there, I froze my tailbone off. It was sleeting that morning up there last Saturday, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, it was brutal up there last Saturday. So everybody be safe. Men, again, congrats. Thank each and every one of our folks watching tonight, and we're down to one interview. Appreciate y'all, men, coming on tonight.
Yeah, appreciate you, Merrick.
All right.
It's great to meet you guys.
Congratulations. We'll see you at the TEC.
See y'all in a
Congrats,
month.
guys.
Awesome. That concludes our Hooked Up Live for Southern Outcasts. Josh Griffith, Sam Thomas. Appreciate those men. If you can, get over there and support Sam through with his business and sponsorship through with our Hooked Up Lives, PFD Fishing, as well as Just Catch Bass. So in the very, very beginning of this video feed, it'll be at the ticker at the bottom that's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It'll give all the information that you can get directly over and check them out. Not only them, but each and every one of our Hooked Up Live sponsors, Line Taming Serum, Just Catch Bass, Star Lures, G2 Gemini Jerseys, Tiny Boat Nation Outdoors, PFD Fishing, as well as Dugout Bait and Tackle. Appreciate each and every one of them. And men, again, if you didn't catch it in the beginning part of our Hooked Up Live, we have one more day, and for the deadline for the meal tickets, that's going to be concluding tomorrow for the Nights of Lights. It's $5 for children, $10 for adults. The Nights of Lights is actually going to be next Saturday night. If you get over to our website, check us out, georgiabass-tech.com. It gives the method to be able to take and purchase your meal tickets. It does not cost to attend the Nights of Lights. So we're going to have a lot of anglers there for a really, really, really great cause. So every bit of our proceeds, if you haven't caught this already from before, 100% of our proceeds from meal tickets to raffle tickets. If you want to purchase raffle tickets, get over and talk to your club presidents in each one of your clubs. Or you can even go through to our website, shoot us an email, and we'll hook you up for being able to take and get you some raffle tickets. But 100% of our proceeds are going to the Shriners Hospital. So when we realized we were going to take and generate funds from this, that we didn't care to have us as an organization to profiting from it. We wanted to take and give back to a really, really needful cause. So appreciate the Shriners organization working with us. Well, who knows? We may even be going live while we're down there as well. So we're going to conclude this with our intro for the Nights of Lights. Again, we're down to our last Hooked Up Live. We'll be with Cold Water Bass Clubs. And believe it or not, we are actually bringing back on Daniel Nicolai, and I believe it's Clell Carnes, if I remember correctly, was the points champions with Coldwater Bass. So appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in tonight. We have our last one coming up, possibly next week, just as long as I can keep kicking this cold and feeling better. So prayers to each and every one that maybe experienced some damages from the tornadoes that come through this afternoon. Prayers for all those, even in the Alabama area and stuff like that experienced the tornado damages. So our thoughts and prayers with each and every one of y'all. Anybody needs any help, feel free to reach out through us. We'd be glad to help you. And so God bless each and every one of y'all, and we will see y'all back possibly first of next week. Take care.
There's no telling what electric John boat fishing could turn into.
Taking this TEC to a much higher level.
This is the best anglers in the state.
The TEC's the cream of the crop.
Meet a lot of folks with similar interests, in different parts of the state.
It's a community experience. We enjoyed every second of it.
It's a super big deal for us, something we won't forget for
a
very long time.
Something we absolutely will never forget.
Yeah, I'm still over the moon. It's amazing.
Let's get up there. Come on. Unbelievable.
Community to jumbo fishing that it's become, especially here in Georgia, it's an amazing thing to see. We enjoyed every second of it.